has been a wonderful opportunity that I have got. Thank you to the previous speaker. You have really touched upon about POXO quite well. Thank you for the social justice and empowerment for giving such an opportunity, and thank you for chairing the session by Sri Chandra Mohan Chandra Moyar, director. And so good evening or good afternoon, everyone. So today's session is today that I'm supposed to take is on understanding about the child sexual abuse and how it needs to be dealt, and its dynamics and effects of the child sexual abuse in the Indian context. So coming to the slides directly, as it has been said, what we understand by the child sexual abuse, it is an interaction between a child and an adult where the child is used for sexual stimulation. Exploration, my language, I guess I have to speak both in Hindi as well as in English. So in certain areas, I will speak in Hindi. Exploration of the sexuality being a minor that we understand that has been covered. Involvement of sexual activity that the child cannot comprehend. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है the child, because he or she might be 5 years, 8 years, the concept of what is going in his body is not known to her, and that is why she is not able to comprehend nor explain the things in the rightful manner. That is why there are a lot of difficulties when we are taking certain assent from the child. Unable to give informed consent, because from children we take assent rather than consent, to which the child is developmentally not prepared, or it is not the rightful age also where the child is able have quite of speech that the child is able to elaborate. Cannot give consent or the violates the law and social taboos of the society. As we know, the fabric of the society is such that many a times, instead of being supportive, it goes towards the other end, and that is why the children find it very difficult, because there are so much of stigma attached to explanation of their own issues. So when we understand about the self, many a times what we see that the children are unable to do it because we as parents or as guardians are unable to explain many of the things, and we do not discuss about anything related to sex and sexuality. So as per the POXO, it has been, these are the things which is already covered. So I will not go here. Next. So this is a very old study which has been done and which is also explained in the previous. We can go to the next. So there are, before taking the main topic on child sexual abuse, I would like to go about who are the victims step by step. The victim is always a girl. There is a myth that it is only a girl who is being affected. But next. It could be boys, it could be any gender, it could be a third gender also. So it is significant stigma associated with male victims, and almost always it is underreported. That is why. Next. The victims will have physical signs of abuse. It is that हम लोग सोचते हैं कि उनके शरीर में कुछ होने से ही उनको रिपोर्ट किया जाता है या कुछ उसके ऊपर इन्वेस्टिगेट किया जाता है, otherwise no. But many a times it is seen, this is the truth, that many a time there can be no physical evidence of the abuse. Injuries may heal quickly. Examination may not be conducted on the same day as per the abuse. So that is why many of the things might be covered. Third is that these children will grow up to the sex offenders. This is again a myth. And the truth is that past sexual victimization can result in an increased likelihood of sexually aggressive behavior, but not children never perpetuate against others. So who are the perpetrators? It is thought that it is only the male persons who are perpetrators, whereas that while majority tend to be men, female perpetrators are also seen and do exist, and abuse are both male as well as female children. Next. It is usually a stranger. It is very rarely a stranger rather. No, the people mostly like to abuse, and the ones with the most opportunity, most access, and most trusted might be a person who might be an abuser. If he looks and behaves normally, he or she is unlikely to be an abuser. No, it is an assumption that a person who seems to be upright citizens are unlikely to abuse children. Many offenders know that the importance of a good public image. Next. The circumstances of the abuse could be that it is a cultural and socioeconomic problem as it is thought, but whereas sexual abuse occurs all socioeconomic strata as well as in all the cultures. Abused children always tell. It is seen that children often fail to disclose about their abuse. They might not even know that something is going wrong in their own body as well as mind. Sexual abuse is a rare experience. In fact, child sexual abuse is not rare. As many as 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys experience some sort of sexual abuse under the age of 18. And child sexual abuse is its own nature a very secretive, and because of unawareness and because of also less of education. Next. Child accounts, how do the child feel about it? Children tend to exaggerate and are prone to making false accusation. We always think that children are exaggerating or they might not be able to tell us. Rather, children often minimize. वो लोग हमेशा बहुत ही कम बोलते हैं क्योंकि उन लोगों के बीच में वर्ड स्टॉक ही नहीं रहता है. जब वर्ड स्टॉक नहीं रहता है, then how would they express? So children often minimize and deny such experiences. Next. If they recant, it means that they lied in the first place. So बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि child will not tell you or tell us in the very first instances. Many a times it happens when, because they're so overwhelmed by seeing a police personnel or a person from the child protection, so they might be finding it very difficult to with a stranger, because we all are strangers to them. So they might take time, so that is why they might lie at that moment that nothing has happened, everything is good. But rather, abuse victims who are more vulnerable to familial adult influences are more likely to recant. So in their own families, because the person who might be very close to him, he might recant or he might tell a lie. Therapists or a police can easily implant false memories and cause false accusations among the children of any age. No research shows that the children are more likely to fail to the report negative experience that actually did happen to them, then falsely remembers that they did not. So, could I go to the next? So, the next part of our presentation is on the dynamics of the child sexual abuse. So, first we need to understand that disclosure of the child sexual abuse is in installments. It doesn't happen over only one day, or it may not happen only in one instance. It goes on for quite some time, and the child will need a lot of courage in order to break that whole system and express in front of anybody else when it is supposed to be reporting. So disclosure is not a process, not a one-time event. So they involve the counselor, because the person needs to be well trained to handle such children. So that is why a trained counselor or a mental health professional is required in such kind of aspect, which is nowadays given a lot of importance to. And do not hesitate to seek help. Next slide. So there is a whole process when a child goes through. Before that, there is what I'm supposed to discuss today is the grooming process and the accommodation process. Grooming is something which every child is being groomed before he is abused. There is a procedure which takes place in a very systematic, methodical manner. So वो कैसे होता है वो हम अभी जानेंगे. So child sexual abuse victims goes through the grooming process, and the process is basically manipulating the psyche of the child. Child को एक बार में ही नहीं करते हैं, मगर उनको बहुत कोक्स किया जाता है, या they start building a rapport. In fact, there are no physical abuse in the very first go, and only certain psychological traumas are being given, and after that the things become furthermore debilitating, or it is furthermore deteriorating. Grooming is a methodical approach and systematically done to violate the child. Next slide, please. How the child is groomed. These are the 6 steps that we will cover today. So knowing the child and its family, first is that child ko jante hain, janenge, and then they will start developing a rapport, develop a trust with the family, developing the trust with the child, bribing the child, normalizing and inappropriate behaviors are then showed to the child, gain the child's confidence, and then they start abusing the child. Next slide, please. So first step is called as targeting. Targeting that who are the children who are more vulnerable for child sexual abuse. Like suppose children with no supervision, or whom we call it as unaccompanied children, are more vulnerable to such kind of incidences and instances. Single parent home or broken families are more vulnerable. Children in the foster care, adopted children, physically or mentally handicapped children, poverty ridden children, socially isolated families, parents with mental illness, and parents with alcohol and drug abuse. These are the first, the perpetrator or the abuser will find out that whether any of these things are there with the children, and they're very easy to target. Next step. Then the next step is to gain trust. Abuser shows lot of interest in the child. Abuser will start developing a rapport, and abuser shows interest in the child, spends lot of time with the child, gather information about the child's background, उनके बारे में रैपो एस्टैब्लिश करते हैं, बहुत टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, learn about the child's need. Child को क्या अच्छा लगता है? Suppose the child is in need of certain phones or gadgets or dolls. These are like softer things for a child, and then the child will be given offer of such kind of things. So learn about the child's needs, gains emotional support, and then becomes a friend. Third step is the next slide. Fill a need. So he will try to fill the vacuum. So the child is being well studied. So child को लगता है उनको चाहिए कुछ कुछ सामान चाहिए. Like child is not given to eat certain chocolates. So now the child, that abuser will start bringing chocolates for the child so that he can have a good trust in him. Or he will try to give his phone so that he can use the he or she can use the suppose iPhone he is demanding to his parents, and now he will be demanding to this person because now he has a rapport established. So abuser provides child's needs such as food, chocolates, gadgets, iPhones, or games, entertainment, and so forth. Abuser provides emotional support. Then he will be in a good trap. The abuser introduces promise, secrecy, and then he will prepare the child to the next step. In this also, he will be saying that we will play a game. We will play a secrecy game between you and me. And these kind of promises are generally fulfilled by the abuser. Next step, please. Next slide. Then the child will be isolated. Child is told to go to not to go to the other children. So generally sometimes they will go to the school, bring from this school. He will take extra precaution and care. He will be very loving towards the child. Time is spent by fulfilling the child's need. जो कुछ भी चाहिए उसको इजीली मिल जाता है, चाइल्ड को इजीली मिल जाता है. जो पेरेंट्स नहीं देते हैं वो चाइल्ड को अब्यूजर दे देते हैं. Secrecy and promise is further strengthened. Then he will start praising the child, and child is being used as an object, or he'll be objectified. Next step, next slide. So the abuse begins. Step 5 is that abuse starts. So here the child is lured into a game. In the game, that child is being abused. Child is blamed to being beautiful or wearing a beautiful dress. Then threat is also used. Child is given something in return of food, chocolates, gifts, but remains with the abuser. So he will say that I'm giving you to use my iPhone, I'm giving you to use my YouTube, but this is yours only, but it will stay with me. So the child knows that this gift is mine, but I cannot keep it because of my parents, so he will be keeping it in front with the abuser. Next. So this is the last step, which is called as maintain the control. So child, during the process of abuse, what the person does is that he will take photographs of the children, or he will take certain nude photographs. So threat, coercion, exploitation, violence, sexual abuse
Dr.
continues in
Das, you have
process.
5 more minutes.
So
Dr. Das, you have
yes,
5 more minutes to complete your presentation.
yeah,
और कृपया हिंदी का भी इस्तेमाल करें आप.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So periodically child sexual abuse it happens. उसके बाद accommodation होता है. ये child accommodates the abuser's demand. Can we go to the next slide? So इसको बोलते हैं accommodation. Accommodation how the child is in trap, and ये trap में कैसे होता है उसका भी 5 categories. जैसे कि पहले को बोलते हैं secrecy, helplessness, entrapment and accommodation. सो बहुत सारे चीज़ चाइल्ड के ऊपर जानते हैं और वो सीक्रेसी मेंटेन करते हैं. उसके बाद चाइल्ड को हेल्पलेस बना देते हैं. ही और शी कैनॉट गो आउट instead of this person, then falls into an entrapment and you know an accommodation and delayed and unconvincing and sometimes retraction. So उसको ऐसे भी बोलते हैं कि स्टॉकहोम सिंड्रोम हो गया है. स्टॉकहोम सिंड्रोम मीन्स द चाइल्ड इज इन सच अ साइकी, ऐसे उसका मनस्तस्व हो जाता है जिसमें द चाइल्ड फील्स पॉजिटिव फीलिंग अबाउट द अब्यूजर. और कभी कभी जब पेरेंट्स उनको नहीं बुलाना चाहते हैं या नहीं बुलाते हैं, then the child himself will call herself will call the person. Next slide. So this is a actually video. If you have time, then I can show you. Otherwise, it is about Komal, if you know about it, or we can skip that.
Please
I
skip.
don't. Yeah. So why?
Ma'am, please play that video.
Yeah, because it will.
Please play that video.
Yeah. The whole process I told you, it is here.
इसमें वॉल्यूम भी है क्या? हाँ. आ रहा आने.
आपकी पुरानी दोस्त बख्शी अंकल और आंटी
मैम, थैंक यू फॉर यूजिंग दिस वीडियो। मैम इसे स्टॉप कर दीजिए, और हम इसे अपनी वेबसाइट पे भी डालेंगे, और इसका लिंक भी शेयर करेंगे, ताकि हमारे और जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं इसको देख पाएँ। और इस सब्जेक्ट को, इस विषय पे जो आप बात कर रही हैं, उसे समझने के लिए बहुत सूटेबल वीडियो है। आप अपना प्रेजेंटेशन सम अप कर दीजिए।
Yeah, sure. So actually, the whole process, like why her, eyes were darker, all these things I was about to tell. But however, because of constraints of time, just I will be touching on the disclosure by children, why they don't like to disclose in front of many people. फर्स्ट एक तो है शर्म। उन सभी लोगों को ही शर्म लगता है, मीन्स वेन एवर वी हैव इश्यूज एंड छोटे छोटे चीज़ में ही हम लोगों को बहुत ही शर्म लगता है। तो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज़ रिलेटेड टू प्राइवेसी। हम लोग पर्सनल प्राइवेसी के बारे में भी जानना चाहिए। वह पर्सनल होता है जो कुछ हम लोग बता सकते हैं, प्राइवेसी होता है एनीथिंग टू डू विथ सेक्स एंड सेक्सुअलिटी इश्यूज आर मोस्टली प्राइवेट थिंग्स। सो ये सब जब भी क्वेश्चन किया जाता है तो फिर द चाइल्ड डज नॉट नो हाउ टू आर्टिकुलेट सच थिंग्स, उसको कैसे बताया जाता है, बताना चाहिए, वो सब नहीं होता है। सो थ्रेट्स ऑफ द बॉडीली हार्म, मोर ओवर द अब्यूजर विल कीप ऑन टेलिंग हम तुमको हम यूज करेंगे, या your brother will be killed because of this, your mother will be harmed because of that. So ये सब हमेशा ब्लैकमेलिंग चलता रहता है बच्चे का। So that kind of psyche the child needs to be brought out from. उसके लिए बहुत सारा बीमारी होता है, जैसे कि in mental इलनेस में हम लोग काफ़ी ऐसे बच्चे देखते हैं जिसको PTSD होता है, पोस्ट ट्रॉमेटिक स्ट्रेस डिसऑर्डर, या एक्यूट स्ट्रेस रिएक्शन। उन लोगों में के स्वप्न में ही बार बार इससे ऐसा दर्दनाक कहानी चलता रहता है, एंड दे रिपोर्ट ऑफ सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स अगेन एंड अगेन। एंड उसके लिए दे हैव बेड वेटिंग, there are issues of other things like जो जेनाइटल एरिया में उन लोगों का ग्रॉइंस एरिया में बहुत सारे पेन लेकर के आते हैं। देर ट्रॉमेटोजेनिक, ये जो ट्रॉमाजेनिक इश्यूज होता है, दिस इज अगेन नॉट दैट वन टाइम, बार बार वो लोग बॉडी को साफ करते रहते हैं। बिकॉज दैट इफ यू हैव सीन इन दैट क्लास that there was a caricatural display of a person who was like, her whole body has been broken down. So उससे ही वो लोग जीवित रहते हैं। And many a times these offenders only, this children who are victim become re-victimized, because when they live in a society, जब वो समाज में रहते हैं, घर में रहते हैं, उन लोगों को पॉइंट आउट किया जाता है। रादर जो परपिट्रेटर होता है वो 3 महीने जेल खाने के बाद फिर से आ जाते हैं। So these are pertinent issues like which needs to be addressed, and the children and the family, they go into some other, relocate to some other places, where these are the, these are in fact psychosocial issues which needs to be addressed. So हम लोग जब काम करते हैं, then we not only work with the as a mental health professional, rather we work from a cross disciplinary or interdisciplinary team approach, जिसमें protection officer from lawyers, then social activists, NGOs, all the legal advisors. We need the whole forum to work hand in hand. Then only we will reach to some amount of, some amount of a point where we want to reach to.